And welcome to Hope After the Landslide. I'm Jackie Van Workum, and what's this, Lisa? Take two. This is take two for Lisa, because last week we tried to get her beautiful face on here with us at Hope After the Landslide and technology. So I'm again thanking my friend, my search and rescue team, Kathy Chambers, for stepping in. But we get to have Lisa, and it must have just been God's timing that you were here tonight. So welcome, Lisa, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, we had all those little glitches, and we talked, and we got on this morning, but here we are. So how is everybody this week? I know that that's a big loaded question, but I just want you to know that we do this like every single Tuesday night at 6 p.m. because we came down, it just felt so cold and dark, and you just couldn't move, and you have to try to resurface and come out. And so when we refer to the landslide, we also talk about the edelweiss flower, which is also on this cover here. I'm also trying to do it, see if you can see the little edelweiss flower, because that's what I'm going to call my moms, all my grieving moms, because they break through. They have the strength enough to break through that frozen solid ground and just to seek the sun and just start up and start life kind of all over again, right? So welcome to one of my many edelweiss flowers here that is going to share a little bit about her story.
Okay, you want me to go?
Yes.
All right. Well, it's still hard to talk about it without feeling that
It's okay.
lump in the throat. And but our youngest, Michael, he became ill. Well, he had been battling for a while, but it's a lot of technical stuff, and he had a weakened heart. He ended up having acute heart failure, and he was probably having heart failure for a couple years or battling, and it just wasn't caught. He wasn't presenting normal signs of heart disease, and probably viral, and they call it dilated cardiomyopathy. Well, he actually lost his job. They said that he was being lazy. He was just battling life, but his heart was starting to fail him, and we didn't know what was wrong with him. I thought he got sick, and I thought for sure he must have pneumonia or something. I took him to the emergency room, and that's when we got the news that his heart was failing, and he went downhill pretty fast after that. By some miracle, they were able to install some pumps in his heart to keep him alive until he can get a heart transplant. They told us he needed a heart transplant. During that time, as horrible as it was, there were little moments that God showed himself, just it's going to be okay. I'm here. He even gave me a scripture, Ezekiel 36:26, that I thought, okay, he's going to get his heart. And, so many people come through, and I've had so many people coming to me, and my mother had her heart for 15 years. She's doing amazing. And so I just felt very hopeful, but I felt hopeful in that it was going to go down a certain way. And, all our journeys are different. And so he actually, it was his last day awake. We had a beautiful day. And that whole week, we all had moments with him. Now looking back, I'm so thankful for those moments. I really believe he had an opportunity to say goodbye. And as hard as it is, and I'm not trying to understand it, but you have it when you grieve, and Jackie's does a great job in her book, in her Bible study, the Grieving Moms book, The Resurfacing, talking about the different stages, and there's no order, and we go in and out of phases, and so I might jump around because 8 months out, it may not be that long for some people, and it might, for some people, they might think, well, she's doing okay, but I may be doing okay now, and tomorrow it's another story. So it's a process. It just is a process, and I'm so thankful.
Lisa, for you?
Pardon?
How long ago, or how long has it been?
Well, 8 months. June 3rd.
Such a short time.
Yeah, that last day that he was awake, he had some complications of the pumps, and he had a hemorrhage and he was in a coma for about a week. And
Hmm.
we were all able to gather and say goodbye and have final moments with him. So we were there when he passed, and
And he was
it was.
a amazing young guy, and Lisa just had to. I love to play the drums, and so did Michael, and she just had to go through and even sell off his drum set, and even God was in the details in that situation. I know you were just sharing with me this morning.
Yes, yeah, yeah, and you have to look for him in the details because, and it's a daily thing to get up and sometimes to just look forward. And it's hard in this situation because all we have is their memory. It's hard to not look back at certain things. So I'm learning how to do that.
Yeah.
To look back at the memories and the good things and not really focus on the what ifs and beating myself up. But we're early in the process. I'm early in the process, and then with this moms group, it's still early too. So I know that there's work still. There's a lot of healing for me
Well,
to
eight
do.
months is so short of a time.
Yeah,
You haven't
and
even a year.
yeah, and I wanted to share real quick. I mean, how good God is because Jackie was probably one of the first grieving moms that I met.
Hmm.
And when you told me your story, my first thought was, it could always be harder. It can always, I mean, we all have different journeys, but one of the first things that you told me that I really took to heart, and I thought is the best advice. A lot of people have advice, they don't know what to say, or they try to say something, but the best thing you told me was remember to breathe.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
That's what we probably have to tell each other right now while we're doing this broadcast, right? To
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
remember to breathe.
And when you
Yeah.
call it the landslide, it makes total sense. You feel like you're buried under this pile of just and you can't breathe and you feel the weight,
Yeah.
and it hurts. It just hurts. Yeah.
You can't move it. I loved, and I just shout out to Debbie Brown and who's the beautiful lady that came out with us that day? I'm so sorry, I forgot her name.
Rosales.
Yes, yes, that they brought us out there at the ranch and we got to meet, and I just knew instantly. And I said this to Lisa this morning. I'm like, you and I are so much alike, and the fact that you are doing what you're doing, and I'm going to let you share a little bit about your group. But have you had anybody say to you, "Gosh, Lisa, it's only been 8 months. Are you doing too much? Are you doing too little?" You're getting all of those people telling you how you should do
Yeah.
things, right?
Yeah. It's hard. I'm an A-type person, and I'm all over the place sometimes. I doubt myself all the time, and it was hard because you feel like you're not doing it right. You're doing too much. You're not doing enough. You need to keep busy. You need to not cry. You need to cry. You need, it's like
You
there
just gotta
nobody
take
knows.
it day by day.
Yeah, and yeah, you need to be still. And I'm thinking, so I don't know. I'm really trying to hear the Lord's voice in all of it. And if I could take away anything right now at this moment, that's where I'm at. I'm really trying to practice being still and listening to Him because we all have, every single one of us have different DNA. We all have different journeys. We have so many variables. And there's a lot of good advice. There's a lot of good intentions. People love you. They love you out there. You moms. Oh, sorry, that was my timer for this. I forgot I said it. So they have a lot of. They only care and they love, and sometimes, if I could say, I think sometimes people hold back because
Mhm.
it's hard for them to see you hurting, and they don't know what to say. So you have to have grace with yourself. Something I heard someone say too is God gives you enough grace for today. His mercies are new every morning. So I made a conscious decision on mornings that I don't even feel like getting out of bed. Well, I get to see what He has for me today. His grace, His mercy is new. And I've also given myself permission. If I don't want to get out of bed, I don't have to.
Yeah. Or you can take a nap just like you did, right?
I took a little nap because today was an emotional day. I had an amazing talk with you and then another old friend that just, ugh, thinking about it, I get teary, just how God just brings people to in your path to love on you and to pour into you and to encourage you. And so I took a little nap so I wouldn't be overly tired. But it was like a heavy duty nap. I woke up not knowing what year it was. So I thought, why? I didn't,
I have something to do today. Was it? Oh, that's right. I'm supposed to talk to Jackie.
maybe God knew that I'd be too wound up. And so I just woke up kind of like, what am I
It's just what
doing?
you needed. I wanted to do a shout out to Mary and to say hi to Sherry. Hi, you guys. Thank you for being here. Get to see Lisa's face and not a substitute this time. She's really here. And we're
Yeah.
so thankful for that. This is February. And of course, we talked last week that it's the love month. And tomorrow is Valentine's Day. And, for some of you, that might be good, bad, and different, but we're going to look at it as being positive, and we're going to say that we want to focus on that self-care. We want to love ourselves. And even like Lisa taking a nap today, maybe she felt like she didn't know what year it was, but she did take a nap and she's refreshed, and look at her, she's glowing and she feels good. Or taking a walk along the beach, and Lisa came out to the ranch. So don't put a lot of pressure on yourself. Plans change a lot. You wake up and, like Lisa said, you wake up and think, okay, this is what I had planned. We talk about maybe we had lunch with a friend, or we were going to clean something out, and maybe yesterday was a bad day. And you just have to say, okay, you know what? That's just not going to happen. Give yourself grace. And, but there comes a point to where if you're doing this every single day, and we talk about just being in that dark place and being isolated, it is really important to, extend your hand out and to say, we need to get together. I need to find that friend. Or, of course, if you're having a group, be a part of the Grieving Moms Finding Hope support group is always a great way. And I guess that's a really good lead in right now for you, Lisa, to share a little bit. I mean, it's been 8 months. You meet me. You did already an interview on just a casual one out at the ranch. The horse was eating your hat, and and now she has stepped up to the plate in such a beautiful way. And I just want to say before you talk about it that if you're not at that place, it's okay,
Yeah.
because we're all different. Like Lisa was saying, we all have different DNA. And if you want to step up and make yourself feel better by helping other moms, then you do that. If you just want to be in a group and just not even say anything, just take it in and listen to them laugh, that's okay too. So Lisa, tell us about your awesome group.
Well, at first I want to say, I really hadn't, I thought I would be in a group first and go through the Bible study. I had this plan how I was going to do this. 'Cause I definitely wanted to be involved. After hearing how this study and your story and how it all came to be, I didn't think it was an accident that it landed on my lap. I had no intention of leading a group, but something clicked in me, and I know what I needed. And a long time ago, my old pastor, um, he said, if you feel there's a need, then maybe God's putting it on your heart to raise your hand and lead, and do something with it. And so I thought, look, what's the worst that can happen? After what I faced, after what I've been through, after what you've all been through, in light of that, what happened, there's no fear. I'm just like, what's the worst that can happen? I'm just going to show up. The hardest part is, signing up and showing up.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
we don't show up. So that's the biggest thing. That's the hardest part, is just showing up. So I thought I could do that. I could show up, and sometimes maybe I won't finish my Bible study or won't, whatever. I'm always going to feel like I'm inadequate. But anyway, so I said I'd do it. And it was just, at first, it's just me and another person, Pamela, and she's watching. Hi, Pam. And she's a new grieving mom. So
And David said to say hi to you. Lisa said, Patty and I love you.
who? Yvette?
Serta?
Patty Serta. Hi, Patty. I had some amazing support, some prayer warriors that prayed me through. They watched me go through what I went through with my son, and they were there by my side and praying every step of the way. But anyway, so and probably why I'm able to be able to talk without bawling, right now, because still it's still fresh,
Yeah.
but so I have a new grieving mom in the group. It was just me and her. The first session. We've only done two. And it was perfect, and it felt safe, and it was just like this. I was just like FaceTiming a friend, and my heart really went out to her, because I don't know if I even would have had the courage to talk to someone after 2 months. I mean, you're barely functioning. So she's just such a brave lady. But then Cosette joined us this last time. So it's just three of us. And it was just, we left that session just on cloud nine. I don't know why. It's such a blessing to have, to recognize, we all kind of, at first you're a little timid. Like, I don't know if they'll get it, and I'm afraid to share my story. And, we all have a different story, and we don't have to have everything in common, but we found that we had so much in common in different ways,
Right. And the one main thing you said you had in common was that you're all grieving moms. So it doesn't matter how that you lost your child, you're all grieving mom, you feel the pain. And it would say, I will also want to say hi to Pamela and Cosette also out there, and for giving Lisa grace, because she stepped up and is doing that. But I couldn't believe how awesome that she was all lit up when she was sharing about the group time that you guys all had.
Oh, it blessed me so much. We all three of us left, I feeling the same. I think I got that impression. I don't want to speak for them, but, well, it's neat, because there's things that we share that think it gives me permission, or gives them permission to go, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I'm not the only one. Like, for example,
Right.
Pamela was a little bit feeling a little frustrated, and I feel like I can share this, Pam, because I'm sharing. I totally could relate that you wake up with these intentions, like, okay, I really need to get up and XYZ. Like, I got to clean the kitchen, and I really should go shopping, go food shop, real basic stuff. Like, it took me a while to go grocery shopping. I didn't have food in my house, because that triggered me. Grocery shopping. I won't get into all the details, but that was hard for me. My son loved food, and that was a big thing, the food shopping list, and what are we going to make for dinner? And so anyways, she said, then it'll be 4 o'clock. And it's like, what did I get done today? And I thought, oh, thank God, you're not the only one. I I wonder that too. And I beat myself up. I think, what did I accomplish today?
Yes.
And you feel like, what did I do today? Really, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. What did I get accomplished? I brushed my teeth.
And everybody probably around you appreciated that, right?
I think. But like, you were very good at reminding me, you have to give yourself grace. And I have to share, how amazing God is. A friend of mine, Yvette, she might be watching. Love you, Yvette, if you're watching. But she asked me, let me ask you something. Are you not okay with being not okay? And then I just started crying.
Wow.
And one of your grieving moms, that was a quote that you had on session 1 when I opened the book that next day. And it said, I remember who wrote it, but it's okay to not be okay. Yep. And then I just kind of I just knew that this is what I needed. That was the first thing I read. Not the first thing. I read the preface and all your beautiful, glowing, recommendations. And but when I read that, I was like, yeah, this is going to be good. This is going to be really good.
There's so much of the, people, when, I don't know, for you, Lisa, I'm sure everybody did, they give you books because, man, there is a lot of great information in some of these, books on, like I can mention Grace Disguised and a lot of these other books that are people that have gone through things, but there's nothing as good as having face-to-face, whether it's, virtually like we're doing right now, and whether it's in a group, and then we can actually, hug somebody. There's just so much there whenever somebody says to you, you know what, you're going to be okay. It's been 5 years for me, and it just was 8 months for you. So that's why we're always, always encouraging you guys to get involved in a group, because Lisa's only had the 2, and I've had a number of groups already together. And my Thursday night group, it's at Saddleback Church. I cannot tell you guys, I get so lit up when I talk about these ladies. None of them knew one another. And we are just, and I mentioned this last week, laughing and hugging. And now they're plugging jokes at me, and they look forward. And now they're initiating, talk about a hike. We're going to even do a sleepover here down in San Clemente and spend some time to have that self-care. So I know that it's so hard for you ladies we've all been there. We've all been there to where you don't want to move, you don't want to talk to anybody. And that's when we go into that place of isolation. And that is when the darkness sets in. And that's when we need to break out of it. And that is the hardest thing. The hardest thing is not being in the group. The hardest thing is showing up, like just getting on, your clothes and walking out the door and anticipating all of these things. But, like Lisa said, it's like we all have in common that we all lost a child. And in fact, I will just mention that last night, my husband and I went out to dinner with another couple, and we've met them through the Survivors of Suicide group. In fact, she's going to be on the Hope After the Landslide Facebook Live next week. Her name is Lorraine. And we just sat, the four of us, and had dinner. And it was just so refreshing because we could talk, the four of us, as a couple, to say, oh, did you have this happen? Or I can't explain it, but it just felt like when you go out with your other friends, you still want to keep those friendships. But I think the one thing that she mentioned was that, gosh, it's so hard because you don't want to be Debbie Downer and talk to them about like what has happened, but it's our life. And they're watching us, they're watching how we're responding this, especially if we're followers of Christ. And that's hard. And we say, that's not fair, but truly, I'm sure you could agree, Lisa, because of knowing you in the short amount of time, this is how we've gotten through it. Being a follower of Christ and being involved in these groups, where these ladies just, they look at us and go, I get you.
Yeah.
Get you.
Yeah. If I could say, you talked about isolation, and I love how you talk about insulation versus isolation. And sometimes we get the two confused. And it's okay to insulate at times, to put a little protective bubble around you, especially with some people that maybe don't know how, like when you're ready to interact with certain people or not or whatever. But we could get stuck in isolation. And I wanted to encourage some moms. It doesn't matter if you lost your child 10 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever it is, and you feel stuck in a certain place. It's okay. It's okay. You're not going to be judged that, well, why aren't you over it? Because that's where your heart is. That's why these groups exist, and it's important that we press on no matter how long ago it was. If you feel like you're ready to heal and to climb out of that, I just imagine a rut. You're just stuck in a rut. You're stuck and you've isolated yourself and you feel alone, or that pain is just so much that you just don't want to bear it anymore. You're stuck, the landslide, you haven't broken through. So you have help. You've got the search and rescue, right?
Exactly. You have to have it. I mean, that's why we talk about the body of Christ. We talk about the church. We talk about people, because we were designed to be in relationship, with God, and we're designed to be in relationship with other people. And, with the Grieving Moms group, I think that initially that everybody, again, feels the same way when they walk in, because they think, oh my gosh, it's been 10 years, or if it's been 20 years, I don't want to bring this up again. But what if you've never really dealt with it? I mean, if you've never really talked about it, because, Kathy Taylor has shared with us so many times from Hurting Moms, Mending Hearts, that you take away its power when you talk about what has happened. And it's not for everybody to hear. Sometimes the stories are hard for other people to hear. I mean, I'll just say, like yesterday, I was out shopping, and there was times where I was, having conversations with some of the people, and the conversation will come up and say, how many kids do you have? And well, I have 3 boys, but, I lost one. You discern who do you want to really extend that out to. You don't want to feel like you have to be a witness to everybody in the world at all. And because sometimes it's too heavy. You just don't want to. And then there's other times where it's welcome. Like this one lady I shared with, like her eyes welled up, and then she said, I don't hardly know you, but I just want to give you a hug. And it was this instant, wonderful meeting that we had in the middle of like an antique store. It was really beautiful. So it's not that scary. Thinking about it and spending time in that, as Lisa said, in that isolation is more scary than being out with other people. And, you know, the insulation you were talking about was, yes, it's time to be insulated, but to make sure you're insulated with God and his word, or listening to praise music, or that you've even got a friend just sitting there with you, or going to the movies where you don't have to talk, right?
Yeah. No, I liked also what you talked about, having people sit with you. One thing that I had a hard time in the beginning is there's a lot of people wanting to be there for you, but they don't know how. And I didn't know how. And when we went to Hawaii, it was kind of soon after. I think it was just so much, because it wasn't just that my son passed. We went through a year and a half of waiting for him to get his heart. So it was a long thing, and I can't imagine how people do it long term, you know, years. And but I met this lady, and she writes a blog. She lost her baby, and she wrote a blog, and then you mentioned it in your book about sitting Shiva.
Yes.
And oh my gosh, I would love for you to talk about that a little bit, because maybe some people that are watching want so much. Like, I know there was people who wanted to be there for me but didn't know how, you know. Yeah. And I think that would be cool for them, whoever, even after the fact, when this is all said and done, they might go back and watch. How could someone minister to someone that, you know, maybe a neighbor or a friend or family member that loses a child in the future? What does that look like? Sitting
Shiva is still carried on. I'm pretty sure it's a Jewish tradition. It was done. It's even mentioned in the book, where for 7 days, the Shiva, meaning seven, would come into the grieving family's home, and they would just react to, you know, well, they probably didn't have like the dishes and all the things like we do. Maybe it was a little different, but just to maybe bring them fresh baked bread, or to just come in and clean up, or, you know, maybe it was to rub their feet, or maybe it was just to sit there and not say anything, but just to be there and sit for 7 days and just fill in those places to where, while they're underneath this landslide and they're frozen, to where they could just do. And that when they come in, you don't be expected to have to feed them or anything. They were just there to love on and comfort you for that amount of time. And that's why I always say, when my friends had asked me, you know, what can I do? It's like, you know what, just come in and just sit with me. Maybe we watch a movie, maybe we go out for a movie, you know, whatever it happened to be, was just comforting enough to know that I wasn't alone. So, yeah. And we are at 2 minutes until it's almost 6:30, and look at how fast the time went by, right?
Yeah.
And I want to say that, first of all, tell us, Lisa, when your group is.
Monday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Yes.
So I say that because we have someone in Texas and someone in Arizona, so their time's a little different, but we all managed to, it's just worked out.
Yeah, it's so cool, because it doesn't matter where you are, you know, you can get on at those times. And I mean, we even have some beautiful moms that are down in South Africa, and I think in order for them to watch this, they have to get up at 3 a.m. because they're that many hours ahead. But they are such beautiful ladies. I want to yell out a big shout out to Leoba and friends down there. They have been so, you've probably seen them on the video. But again, you guys, at the end of the day, you know, before we sign off, and hi, Mary West, just wanted to say thank you for following and being so sweet, encouraging me all the time to get involved, because we want to meet you. I mean, seriously, we really want to meet you. And just to let you know, like, we can't be phony about what these groups have done for us. So if you go to grievingmoms.com, and at the top there's a tab that says groups, and you click on the groups tab, and then you can sign up for a group online. You know, we have had some of the moms that have churches that want to start. Sharon is out in Arizona. She's got one that her church is doing. Hi, Sharon. And, you know, just get that started. And Jeannie's got one that she's going to launch next month. So we have all these groups that you can look forward to sign up. And if you're like, you know, Lisa or me or any of these other moms, and you say, you know what, I think I can do this. It's not hard. We have a leader's guide. You can get yourself involved in doing it. And I promise that we have great, great support for that. But you can reach out to me, Jackie at grievingmoms.com, JACKE at grievingmoms.com if you're interested, if you just want to learn how to walk through. But Lisa, I just love you. I just love you. And I just love our sense of humor when we talk, you know, on the Zoom calls or whatever, or live or in person. I just love spending time because like we get each other, and it's not just because we're grieving moms, but you're a courageous lady, and I just can't thank you enough for being here tonight. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for all your support, whoever's watching, because I get so much love, even sometimes people that I don't know. Well, that's how I met Debbie Brown, who introduced us.
Love Debbie.
She just had a heart. She just had a heart for what I was going through, and it just blessed me so much. And, you know, it's amazing how God uses us, you know?
Yes.
So.
Yes. Oh, and one last thing too, wanted to tell you, I do those Hope at Sunrise every single morning, unless, like I said, I have a day and I can't get it. But now you can sign up for those on the grievingmoms.com website. You can sign up to get those sent to your email so that you can get those every morning. So you have Hope at Sunrise. Mm-hmm. I love every one of you out there. I know that we are just, I don't know, just a friend that at some point we're going to meet each other. I look forward to that. And in the meantime, love on yourself. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day. Find that time to love on yourself. And because you deserve it, you deserve to have other support involved in this, because this is not for sissies. This is not an easy thing. But we can get through this because it's not the end of your life. Because God has got a new plan.
Amen.
God bless everybody. And again, thank you, Lisa, so much for being a part. We'll talk to you next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Bye.